Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another review. Halo Season 2 on Paramount Plus, Episode 5. Let's just call this the Riz episode because there's so much to kind of unpack. I mean, coming off of the last episode, it was a whole lot. Like, that was insane. Still, to me, one of the best episodes of the franchise. But I do think that this was a great follow-up. It added a lot of character development and a lot of different things that you just didn't expect. But we're gonna go and break it down. My co-host here, Busy Braun. What's up, Busy?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, there's a lot to talk about, dude. Like a lot of the bad that we've talked about that kind of led to some good in this episode, and I really want to dive into it.
Yeah, no, like this, we gotta talk about the freaking. Well, before we even get there, this is a spoiler-filled review. So if you guys haven't seen the episode,
Go watch
go
it and then come
and
back.
watch it first, and then come back, and we'll kind of dive in. So the opening of this joint was nuts, because Chief was incapacitated. He was on the ground. Soren was still like supplying like suppression fire. Riz is still hurt and trying to see what she can do to help. And of course, Varric is gone. And at that point, we was kind of like watching the enemy kind of like move away. It's like Halsey was looking out to the abyss, like, I don't know what's happening, but they're gone. And then all of a sudden, this huge behemoth jumps through and he's coming and charging at them. And they're effectively about to die. Like, he put the hammer down. And we didn't know what was going to happen, but we did know that all of a sudden, like fire's coming out of the sky, and lo and behold, it is freaking Soren's wife and Quan just laying down as much support fire as they can. They defeat the big creature, but then there's more of those jokers coming through.
Yeah,
And so we were like, oh, okay, everything's cool. They're getting on the ship. Everything's safe. We're fine. No.
yeah. And the thing is, before we dive into the even more craziness, them picking up into the straight action. This episode had one of the greatest intros in my opinion. I mean, I feel like I haven't been that at the edge of my seat from an intro in a very long time. And them picking up from that hype from the last episode obviously added to it. But to add Quan and Soren's wife onto the mix, of course, I know Quan isn't a fan favorite, but the one thing that's been killing me with this show, like I love the main storyline, but the side storyline, the pirate storyline, that ain't it, man. I understand what they're doing and it's cool, but
Mhm.
compared to what the main storyline is, it doesn't compete. And I'm not necessarily crapping on that storyline. It's just the fact that like you can't have a storyline right here and then something else like up here. The pacing
Mhm.
just gets thrown off.
Yep.
So with them finally kind of having these characters connect in a way, like it just was it added on to the hype. I'm like, yo, no more side storyline. It's all
Right.
connected. It's all connected. And that alone, just seeing Soren's wife in the window, I just couldn't believe that it was going to be her. Like, I understood they were looking for him, and I thought it was going to be a situation that we were going to get more side storyline, and they were going to see, like, the planet in ruins. They were like, oh, he's not here, or he's dead, or something, and then it was just going to continue on and do their own thing. And for them to kind of, like, oh, man, it just, the excitement that I felt, oh, it was so good. So great.
Yeah, because the thing about it, and going into even the end of this, I don't think Soren's going into that power story anymore. I think that at this point, given what's going on with his son, and given his calling, because I think that Halsey said it like, you were technically my first pick before John. You had the more capability. And it was kind of just like, what does that mean? Like, once a Spartan, always a Spartan. But what does that mean for him? Like, how does he accept that? Because we've seen him kind of be nonchalant about everything, not accepting anything. And he gets called out on it in this episode, specifically by his wife, just because his son is gone. She's like, no, I need you to feel all of this. Like, you can't just like put it off. Like, I need you to actually deal with your circumstance. But before we get there, we kind of like, oh, okay, everything's good. But all of a sudden, Riz just decides, oh no, no Spartan left behind. So she goes and jumps off the freaking ship with some dual wielding action and just goes into the fire. And I don't know about you, I was like, daggone, he about to lose everybody this episode. Like, this is it. Like, I was like, why? Why does this have to happen? And so then all of a sudden, the most triumphant moment, she has Varric on her back and is making it. She's trugging along. Chief is like at the edge of the ship, trying to reach out to her, and she gets shot. And I was like, I'm gonna ask you, did you think she was about to die? Like,
I did. I did. When she dove into the fray, if you will, the mix, I honestly thought it was her buying them time so they could get out of there. And before we dive into that, I didn't get to talk about that big bastard that we dealt with in the beginning of the episode. I have no idea what that was. Immediately when you saw him, I mean, you're a fan, so you really try not to tell me what's going on, but it's your face speaks 1,000 words, and you guys will be able to see that on my reaction on my channel. But to be able to see your face, like you were just like, like clearly you were excited, and the creatures like that, like just seeing more of these like creatures is something that I'm looking forward to. Like just the designs, I don't know what it is, but to see something like that in a live action sequence is so dope. Like, it's insane, dude.
Yeah, I wish. I'm trying to avoid saying anything.
And I appreciate her, bro. I do.
I really am. All that I can just say or show is pictures. And there's huge significance for these pictures, and I'm gonna leave that alone right there. But to see it was freaking dope. Yeah, there's so much more that y'all just aren't ready for if you've never played the Halo games. Like, it's and matter of fact, we finally get a name. We'll get to that a little bit later on. That I nerded out.
Like falling out of your chair.
I nerded out on, like, yeah, that's a reaction. If y'all want a reaction, that's it. My reaction to getting that name. But yeah, like Soren's wife and Quan put him down, but Riz goes back and she gets the body, and it's like, bro, like, she's not conscious, like, she's there, and they're trying to get her back to resuscitate her. John's going in and out of consciousness, and it was just such a dope opening. Like, it paid off. Like, it wasn't like, oh no, you thought this was it. Like, no, you're gonna feel everything, because as soon as the opening titles get done, like, John wakes up and he has to sit there and see like his friend, and the pain of seeing him was too much. He couldn't accept it. It was so much so that he had to walk away. And why
are you showing that picture, bro? Why are you doing that?
I mean, you gotta feel it, man. Everybody gotta feel it.
No.
Quan basically kind of like chastised him, like, wait, no. Like, why are you leaving? He's like, your friend is here. He's like, no, he's dead. He's been gone. Like, my friend's not here. And like the whole episode, even though Varric wasn't there, even though like he's no longer on this earth, the birds, the imagery, like even like the connection with Quan, like they use Quan better in this episode than they've used her in the whole entire series to me.
Yep.
To be honest, like, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Like, the reason why I was interested in Quan, because I felt like she could represent humanity. I think they've done that with Perez, and I think they've done that with this season with her finally, specifically in this episode, because I knew for a fact, like, Chief was in denial. Like, he's in pain. Like, he's hurting. And with Quan, like, this whole entire episode, when it came to Varric, like, every small little moment, she just wouldn't let it go. Like, down to the point where she wanted to bury Varric because she lost her family. She wasn't able to bury them.
Yeah.
And so even though he wasn't there, like, his presence was so well handled in this episode that his death kind of mattered, even though I wish they would have done more with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did you want to comment on like some of the imagery and different ways they kind of handled dealing with loss and grief?
Yeah,
and
so
purpose with Varric in
you
this.
kind of brought that to my light. So brought that to me, excuse me. With the whole Quan thing, I'm just like, why is she so upset? I mean, the whole Vanek thing. I kind of, it went all over my head at first. I wasn't really thinking, but I'm like, she didn't know the dude. Why is she upset? And yeah, it's the way you said it. I mean, she lost everybody, and she didn't have the opportunity to say goodbye. She didn't have the opportunity to mourn. In the same way that John is kind of presented, he has the opportunity, obviously not to necessarily say goodbye, but to be able to look at the one or someone he once kind of considered a brother.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where I feel like Quan just obviously the way that their values are, the way that they believe in things, and the way that they go about things are obviously going to be different. But I mean, everyone needs to mourn, and I feel like Quan is just she wants to help him, but at the same time, she seems like she's envious of the fact that he has this opportunity,
yeah,
But I can understand her being straight up frustrated on the fact that he has this opportunity, but he's not taking it, you
yeah,
know. And it just shows kind of some of Chief's emotional immaturity, if you will, like him not understanding that that is a very important part of moving on, the mourning of it all.
yeah,
So to see him kind of accept that was a big deal. And on top of that, to have that bird kind of making fun of him the entire episode, kind of like, hey, look at me, look at me. Like, like
yeah,
it just it was like it was it was cool. It was cool.
yeah. It was like the spirit of his brother was just like
Yeah.
wasn't letting him go.
Mhm.
But yeah, transitioning to Soren. So Soren in this, they kind of get to this one planet, and when they get there, the reason why they're going there is because they're trying to get their son. Now, they think that the son is there, and so they go and they meet up with this one merchant dude. He kind of gives them this spiel about where the kid could be, but he was antagonizing them the whole entire time. And I was just like, bro, if I was Soren, I would have ripped them to shreds. Like you playing with fire, you know what I'm saying? But it turns to, okay, we got to go out to this location based on the books, and they go and have their ride. But the whole entire process of this, Soren's wife is slowly but surely getting madder and madder and way more frustrated, to the point that she's like, realistically, what if my son's dead? Do you care? Like, your emotions don't show that. But the
Mhm.
thing I love about this episode for Soren is that he's still a Spartan. They feel differently. Even though he left, he still was indoctrinated with all those specific things that made him emotionless, so to speak. He just does it differently. He uses his humor. He kind of comes off passive aggressive sometimes. Like sometimes he just doesn't allow himself to deal with anything. He just laughs it off and just keeps it moving. And he even said it to his wife, like, somebody has to keep it moving. He's like, no, 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 no. His wife's like, I need you to feel how I'm feeling and be with me. And I was gonna ask you about, and they don't show it. I wish they would have. There's a dope scene where Soren's wife is looking for the son. She kind of feels that the son's there. Every single turn, like it was almost like she was tracking her son and his whereabouts or possible whereabouts. And as she was seeing somebody that had his son's helmet, he was talking to these individuals that pointed a gun at both of them,
Mhm.
and they claimed that they kind of had him, and like he's been beaten around and he's been starved and they're not good parents. And Soren basically was like telling him like he probably would be good with you guys. It's probably fine. But ultimately, I was like, he's my son, and you're gonna give him back. Now, do you think Soren killed them? Because after everything was said and done, and he was looking, he's like, oh, they're gonna give him back. And I was like, did they really say that? Like, did they actually say that? And they just did not show it. I'm curious. What do you think? What do you think
I
actually happened?
personally don't believe he killed them. I think I don't even know if he roughed them up a little bit. But at the end of the day, I mean, I know you were standing on that edge saying that you believe that if it came to it, he would kill them. And I think if he was, pushed against his will, like he really had no other option, he would do it. But I think that he understands that they're not really trying to put harm to his kid, and they're probably taking care of other kids as well. it doesn't seem like something he would do. I don't think he would kill them all and leave everyone else kind of without that guardian. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think he would have done that.
It's fine that you believe that. Only I think, and again, I'm a parent of 2, right?
Okay.
So
you would have killed him.
if they said to me straight up, I'm not giving your so-called son back. I think that he's better with us. And I said, well, you know what? I've been an absentee father, like this.
You go in there full throttle, but doesn't necessarily mean you got to kill him.
If they said with a shotgun in my face, you're not getting your son back. The gloves are off. It doesn't matter at that point.
Everyone's getting these hands, right?
It'd be one thing if it was like, all right, well, no, I think he's better with me. Like, I think you should leave. Like, no, me and my wife are both here. We need our son back. And they just refuse to give my son back. No. So my thing is, the last time he had the conversation with him, they were gung-ho that they're not giving him up. I don't know. He said his whole monologue statement, which was really well executed by the actor. But the last tagline he said, he's like, yeah, but he's my son. And then they kind of skip over and they find out, of course, who she sees is not the son. You find out that the son was transported somewhere else. We don't find out until the end of the episode because she went Negan on somebody. Well, I don't know if she went Negan on him. We don't know. Like,
they keep cutting out. Yeah. Like, I get it.
Why didn't they just like, we've seen worse things? Well, maybe haven't.
Last episode they went nuts.
Have we seen gore though?
Yeah, they showing all the gore for the aliens, but nothing for
humans.
Yeah, so I mean, they showed him kind of explode a little bit, and then they showed the little gap in his, but like, how much have they? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we've seen Quan slit somebody's throat. Quan's done the most amount of violence
crazy,
to everybody. But it was just weird because I'm like you got a freaking steel pipe with
like that
barbed wire on
those shock value moments would have been cool to watch.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to leave it up to interpretation, considering that this is especially a moment for both of them to kind of grow as characters. So I don't know if they necessarily want to show it. I don't know.
I think this is my thing about it. At the end of the day, both Soren and his wife are not good people, but that doesn't mean they're bad parents. That's honestly what I feel. Like I think that they've dabbled in some darkness. They've dabbled in some things. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are, evil people, but I don't necessarily believe or look at them as good people. But that doesn't mean that they're bad parents. And I think the thing about it is that you can have good character progression while also showing who a person really is internally when pushed. And I think that both of them were pushed through their limits in this, down to the point that she's mad at him. She takes her wig off. She's like, the gloves are off, bro. I don't care. I want my son back by any means necessary. And he's having to reconcile within himself that maybe I have been pushing things aside. Maybe I have been like avoiding everything, because now we find out that his son is with the UFC. Now, we both have the theory of where the son is at, and that goes right back to the Spartans. And
dude, that last shot, holy God, I know you know so much more than I do, but even I'm excited for what's to come, dude. Like, dude, I don't understand how they're able to make that. I don't know. There's so many questions I have, and as a new fan, I'm just like, how are they going to make this work? How did they do this? And even with Kai's like the new chief over here, man. I'm so ready for more. Episode 6 needs to, hurry up and get its ass here. It's going to be so much fun. Again, I truly didn't know. I didn't expect them to top episode 4, but episode 5 is an amazing follow-up. And I think a majority of the people that are going to have beef with the episode are people that, again, are really big Halo fans. And because that seems to be the only issue. Like, the only people that had a problem with episode 4 were people that are like, really, really, like, even there were diehard fans that enjoyed the episode, but the only other people that seemed to not enjoy it were diehard fans. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see a casual watcher throwing a fit over that episode.
Yeah, it's so weird to me that in a world where we have like Master Chief live action, where we have The Last Airbender live action, like people still find things to kind of complain about
Mm-hmm.
because it's their interpretation of what the gospel is, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And even I will say, I've never seen Master Chief this vulnerable emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him in very dire situations, incapacitated for sure, hopeless for sure, but I've never seen him emotionally damaged and lost. And my thing is, as a critic, I'm not basing it off of what I remember of him. I want to know who he is in
Yes.
this story
Mm-hmm.
and in that context. And I think personally, they're executing it very well. I think the actor's doing a really good job. Like Chief went through all the different levels of not just grief, but the acceptance of what needs to take place. Because even after, Quan convinced him after he saw the body, they were able to burn Varric's body, and he was able to really say words about who he is to him, who he is to Chief. After all that was said and done, like Riz basically was like, "Look, bro, I'm out the game, man. I survived,
Yep.
and I'm choosing to live." And
She
he
wants
kind of
attention.
and she kind of like let him know, like, no, I'm out. And he was like gaslighting her, like, how can you do this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to live on for him. We got to
But
do
again,
this.
that comes off from his, kind of like insecurity, if you will. I mean,
Yep.
he just can't go at it alone. Like, and he even says it, like, "You're all I have left," which is the most human thing this
Yeah.
dude has said in the entire series, if I can remember. I
Yeah.
mean, he has had a lot of moments that have revealed like his how he feels internally, but
Mm-hmm.
this was the moment that kind of showed him, like he was doing everything in his power to get her to get back on that ship, to get her to
Mm-hmm.
obey. He even pulled out the "this is an order, get your ass up,"
Yeah.
and she stood up.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the way she stood up, she made him know, like this is the position I'm in. I have
Yeah.
to stand up using these crutches. Like she is
Yeah.
not going to be prepared for battle. And
Yeah.
it's like at the point where he doesn't even care about the battle. It's just he needs her there.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like he is dealing with things kind of poorly. So when he snaps at her like that, it's not even on her. It's the fact that he just doesn't know how to emotionally, like how to handle these things properly.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yeah. Because like she basically is like, you're gonna let all this weight cripple you. You have to let go so you can be able to fully move forward. And it's interesting because she hugs him and he was emotionally compromised. He had to kind of like, let me get off me, man. Like he had after the fact, he had to kind of get off. But she left the dog tags. Halsey found them. She went off and she looked like she was finally at peace, which is really dope. Now, the interesting thing that I find is a dope parallel is that both John and Soren basically in this episode specifically showed that their crippling weakness isn't the struggle, isn't even loss, it's being alone. Soren blatantly said, like, I've gone through hell and back. I grew up in hell. But the thing that was the worst thing for me is being alone.
Mhm.
And that's the same exact thing that John's going through, which is very fascinating. Now, shifting gears, talking about a certain elite that got revealed. I am so happy to say that finally they revealed who this elite is with McKee and that it is officially the Arbiter. Now, I am not going to reveal anything outside of that,
I don't know what
but
any of that shit
that
means.
is amazing.
Bro,
And
your reaction was so funny, dude. I really wanted to understand what was going on.
I wish I could say more, but that character is a very, very important character to the Halo legacy. And you can kind of see why with the dialogue at the end with McKee, because to kind of backtrack, he basically kind of revealed as kind of being like royalty to her, like he kind of kept her alive, like he's her superior, and that he was pissed because like they failed. They were supposed to one, secure the demon who they proclaim as Master Chief, and he wasn't able to get that glory for his redemption. And then on top of that, they weren't able to get what they were coming there for. So he was like, I'm going turning tail back home. I'm gonna give him this freaking device, and hopefully the data is enough to justify my redemption. And she was like, no, don't go back. Like, they're gonna blame this on me. And he's like, I don't care. Like, I could kill you right now. Like, I could take your freaking lungs out. And before they had that conversation, the deep conversation at the end, she was trying to interact with Cortana, and Cortana kind of conversed with her, like, yeah, like, you cool, but I don't trust you. And like you have ulterior motives, and I am here to protect John at the end of the day. And she kind of was like, well, if you're not valuable, like, you can get eliminated. But when McKee needed her, and Arbiter had already gotten them where they needed to go, he was already ready to kind of turn himself in. Cortana was like, look, man, I'm gonna show you this. And so she showed him or them what was their destiny, so to speak, their proclaimed destiny that he'd been looking for. I'm not going to say what it is. I think Busy already said what it was while we were doing our reaction, but it's a very important place. And so now he sees the green pastures or the paradise, so to speak. So he believes now it's attainable, it's his destiny, and he needs McKee to get him there. So he turns and is going to betray the ones that, you know, he's supposed to go back to, and he's going to follow her. Now, my question to you is, Busy, what was your internalization of their arc in this? Where do you think that this is going?
We're talking specifically about the Covenant, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
just
so
McKee, Arbiter,
yeah,
and what you thought was going on.
Okay, so Arbiter again. I just keep flashing to your excitement, but no, yeah. I mean, the one I do want to say, I don't know exactly where it's going. I'm a little excited because them deciding not to go back to like the main spot was just defying the people who were in charge, and to see how scared McKee was, and then to see the what's the big guy's name? Did they reveal his name? That was
Arbiter.
Arbiter. Okay, I wanted to make sure I got it right. So so to see him, you know, not being on board and being like, you know, like, I don't know, to see him see the end goal, and then to realize, you know what, like, this is what I want. Okay, let's defy him. And it kind of like gave him so much more personality to me than instead of just being the big, like, oh yeah, like I gotta do what I gotta do type of guy. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. This was just to see him actually decide to do something he's not supposed to do, and not just to listen to the higher ups. I don't know. It just kind of made me like him. I don't know. I'm not supposed to like him, but it made me like him. And it gave him like a lot of personality. I don't know. I just thought that was cool. And I feel like they don't normally do that with bad guys, you know, and well, this was how you write a bad guy well. I can't even talk properly. I don't even have the words for it. I'm excited to see more of him. Like, I really want this dude to have some more badass moments. But for him to see that little glimpse of happiness, I guess, was just really cool. And I do like that Cortana was able to kind of flip the switch. And, you know, Cortana had some fun scenes in this episode, and that one was just really cool, specifically at the end when McKee looks at Cortana, and Cortana does a little, like, I got you, like, hey, what's up? You know, I'm just like show Cortana is the one who's kind of in power right there. Like she didn't need to do that. She could have watched McKee die. Like, that could have been a whole thing. But no, it was great.
Yeah, I think that you've hit something very interesting. I wanted to kind of pick your brain about it, is that he's choosing to defy the chain of command to pursue something that he feels like is the right thing. There's another individual that's doing the exact same thing in parallel at the same exact time. So that's all I'm gonna say. So I thought that was really dope that you caught that. Okay. Last but not least, Kai. What do you think is going on there? What are your theories about Kai? Because
so I obviously
no, go ahead.
I obviously knew she wasn't dead. But I was waiting for them to show her on the escape pod when Ackerson was getting out of there. And I truly don't know what's going on. I don't know if she knows about Reach. I don't know if she knows what everyone's fate on Reach was. I'm assuming if she does know about Reach, she thinks John and everyone else is dead. I don't know if she's kind of bullying herself for the idea that, hey, like, if I stayed, maybe we would have been able to get out of there together. There's just a lot of questions and a lot of things that they could do. Because the thing about Kai is, yeah, Kai decided to do this on her own, but I don't think that necessarily makes her a bad person. I don't think that she is totally against, everyone else. I mean, like Chief and all of them. I think she still considers them part of her squad, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle the next episode. I'm assuming the next episode is going to be primarily kind of like a before last episode type of thing, like kind of lead up to her kind of putting on the helmet and then going out in front of those soldiers. I think it's going to be a lead up to that, kind of showing how she dealt with everything, how she kind of is coping with the fact or her first moments leaving Reach. I don't know. It's going to be really cool to see what they do in the next episode for sure.
All I'm gonna say is, and I don't know this. This is outside the territory of the games. It's two different possibilities. Either one, she knew what she was doing and working with Ackerman to get him off for the good of everybody else, for the good of mankind, to prepare for the next whatever. And she fully knew what her actions were.
Yeah.
Which case, she's a traitor to me.
Ah, man, I hope not.
If she didn't know and Ackerman lied to her, but she knows full well what happened to Reach, and she decides to still help and pursue whatever his mission is because of chain of command or because it's her destiny that he's put on her, then she's naive and still a traitor.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's a situation she just was maybe brainwashed or something like that, and he got into her head, hypothetically speaking, or she got a chip put in her, then I'll but at the end of the day, when she has to go and see Master Chief again, he's gonna let her know, like, we lost two people because of this. Like, good or bad. Like, I mean, yes, Riz went out, but she's gone.
The one thing that I'm nervous about is if he goes after Atkinson, are we gonna get a one-on-one versus John and Kai? Like, come on now. That's gonna be tough.
He's gonna use Kai against John, absolutely, because he's buttered her up from jump. Now, yeah, I know a little bit about Ackerman, and I'm gonna leave that alone. But yeah, I don't know. I hope for the best for her as a character, but it's gonna take me a lot to forgive her.
Sure,
honestly. That's just me. But we can let it die.
Right.
What do we rate this episode? I'm gonna leave her up here.
Oof, I'm gonna give it a minus B plus. I don't know, man. Around that territory.
Yeah, I give this a minus to B plus 2. I don't have that many negatives about it. The only negative I have that would put it at a B plus is those moments with Soren and his wife. I wanted to see them go ham, bro. Like, don't cut away. Show me what they freaking did. Like, show me what they did to torture these folks. And we didn't talk about what are they doing with the sun? What do you think? What's your theories with the sun?
With the
what is Ackerman?
I mentioned that I believe Ackerson was involved with taking him. And I'm curious to see why. I don't know if it's because most of the Spartans don't procreate. They don't make kids. So I don't know if he is gonna see if he can do something with that. But I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. All right.
Well, sounds like bro.
Well, anywho, we're gonna go. I'm gonna give Busy an opportunity. Busy, where can everybody find your content, man?
Busy Braun everywhere. Busy Reactions on YouTube. We've been posting a lot of our reactions. Sam does a lot of reviews. I do all the reactions. So if you want to see some of his reactions, head over to Busy Braun. And yeah, you can find me on TikTok. We're trying to grow over there. We're trying to grow everywhere. So just show some support.
Yeah, this man has got me out of retirement to go back and doing reactions, like literally out of retirement.
It's been great, bro.
And yeah,
it's really great to do reactions not by myself, because I've been doing this for so long by myself, and you constantly have to talk to yourself to kind of make sure that the content's going on and you're not just sitting there plain faced. So I'm constantly asking myself questions, doing this, but now actually having someone to talk to makes me feel a little better about myself. And I feel like
you're not a schizophrenic anymore.
Yeah, I'm not a schizophrenic anymore, and it makes things a lot more entertaining. So for sure, check them out if you haven't.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're out until episode 6. Go forth and conquer. Peace, people.
Filing out the top of the
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind. Oh Lord.